WWE 2K25 has finally arrived, bringing with it a mix of returning and newly implemented features that, depending on your perspective, will either be a hit or a miss. But despite the countless things that 2K25 has to offer, this video will focus on one thing and one thing only: this year's Showcase Mode. Well, let me not lie, I might touch on a couple of different things about this year's game, but we'll get there. Now, this opinion is coming from someone who has been playing WWE games ever since you could leap or jump from a helicopter, hoping you'd land on your opponent. Yeah, I'm talking about SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, in case no one got the reference.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And I've been playing ever since. Minus a few exceptions because, well, yeah. Yeah. When it comes to this year's Showcase Mode, I did not set high expectations like I did last year. Long story short, 2K14's 30 Years of WrestleMania Showcase Mode set the bar, and unfortunately, 2K24's 40 Years of WrestleMania didn't quite reach it.
Say, we don't just set the bar, we are the bar!
Exactly. This year's Showcase Mode revolves around the one and only Bloodline, letting us relive, alter, and even create historic and fantasy matchups involving iconic members of the Dynasty. Now, right off the bat, this could raise eyebrows, and not in a good way. Whenever a Showcase Mode is centered around a single person or group, it risks not appealing to a broad audience. The Bloodline storyline has captivated a huge portion of WWE fans for years. But what about everyone else? That's why I had set such high expectations for last year's showcase, because it covered, I would say, a good bit of WrestleMania. The variety of different superstars and moments made it more versatile. In my opinion, the best showcase modes go beyond just one person or faction, like WWE 13's Attitude Era, 2K14's 30 Years of WrestleMania, and even 2K15's Rivalry Showcase. I say all that to say this: if you're a diehard Bloodline fan and want to dive deeper into their history while playing through it, you'll probably enjoy the Showcase Mode. But if you're just a general WWE fan playing it for the experience, then like me, you might not find it as enjoyable. As great as the concept was, I wish the Showcase Mode leaned more into the changed history aspect. Imagine if, after changing an outcome, like Umaga retaining against John Cena, we actually saw what could have happened next. Did he continue his destructive path, or did he eventually lose to someone else? Think Marvel's What If. The title tells you the premise, but the episode itself delivers the story. It would have been cool if WWE 2K25 did something similar. Not saying we needed to play those alternate realities, but at least seeing how history could have changed would have been a nice touch. Another great example is Mortal Kombat. Now, follow me on this. When you complete a tower with the character, you get a unique ending that tells you what happened next. Like I said, this concept was really cool, but the execution just wasn't that great. A slight improvement this year was the in-game cutscenes. Last year, I had a huge issue with the constant switch from in-game footage to real-life footage. It felt like I was watching more than actually playing the game. This year, all cutscenes are done using in-game mechanics, and they don't drag on for too long. But when there's an upside, there of course is a downside, and that being is the audio. It felt extremely bland this year. In previous showcases, they used real-life commentary and sound bites, but this year, I barely heard any of that. Even chair shots felt weak to me.
For his never say die attitude, but Xavier Woods is outgunned right now. And look at Woods still fighting back. Yeah, with the handcuffs.
Now, as much as I appreciate getting to play more this year, I still felt like I was doing a lot of watching, just in a different way. I'm talking about the intros before every match. Now, yes, I know that they are skippable, but for me to get the entirety of this experience, I had to watch them, and it was a bit rough. After doing some calculations, which were also a bit rough, I actually played the game for 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 14 seconds, while I spent 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 15 seconds watching intros. And if you take those numbers and do some math stuff with it, that means I only played the game 26% more than I watched it. Now that's not good. Also, how's that for some Scott Center math?
If you go one-on-one with another...
Of course, the 3 longest matches I played were the Women's Money in the Bank match, which took me 10 minutes and 45 seconds to complete, the War Games match, which took me 12 minutes and 22 seconds to complete, and the Finale Gauntlet match, which took me a whopping 26 minutes and 49 seconds to complete.
Damn!
Now, despite getting to play more this year, the watching to playing ratio just still felt off, and I got tired of it really quickly. One thing I did enjoy this year was the arenas that we got to unlock. My favorite? WrestleMania 9 in Las Vegas. Watching that pay-per-view on a VHS as a kid and now seeing it brought into 2K25 was really cool. Also unlocking No Mercy and New Year's Revolution was a dope bonus. I'm still a bit annoyed with the choice of arenas that we got overall for this year, but there were still some nice little additions. Some would even say that they were just... too sweet! Exactly. Just like last year, my favorite part was the final match. And no, silly, not because it meant the showcase was over. Last year had a Royal Rumble, but this year, it's a 12-man Bloodline Dynasty Gauntlet match. It was long, but it was something interesting. Overall, WWE 2K25 Showcase was decent. Not the best, but not the worst. With better execution, more playability, and a refined structure, it does slightly improve on last year, but only by a small step. And that brings me to the next point, the future of WWE 2K games. As fun as these showcases can be, I feel like the series has gotten lazy with creativity in regards to their main story aspect. The showcase modes aren't terrible, but I'm tired of the copy and pasting, rather than original creations for the main focal point of the game. I'm also personally tired of the history lessons and the same rinse and repeat formula. Watch an intro video, complete simplistic or overly drawn out objectives just to do the same thing over and over and over again. Nostalgia is great. I mean, hey, that's part of why I made this channel. But it's time to bring back the creativity that the series once had. And here's how. And when I say this, I'm serious. As serious as John Cena is when he takes his hat off and rubs his hand through his hair and says, "Fine speech."
Fine speech. Fine speech. And a damn fine speech.
Yeah, that's serious. Bring back Road to WrestleMania or Season Mode. It's been 13 years since we've had a Road to WrestleMania, and I don't even remember the last time we received a Season Mode on a WWE game. I know we do have a My Rise to look forward to, but from the ones that I've played and the rest that I've heard about, they're really not the best. That being said, they can still be implemented into the Road to WrestleMania by being the select pathways for created men or women superstars. Another improvement that should be made is getting rid of My Faction. The amount of negativity that mode has received and is still around is baffling to me. But don't worry, you can take the rewards that are reaped from My Faction and attach them to either a season mode or a Road to WrestleMania. So we are still keeping something from it, but the rest of it, burn it. Another feature I would love to see return alongside a season mode, if that were the option that they were to give us, is the customizable locker rooms. Back in the day, being able to personalize your space with championship titles, posters, and memorabilia added a sense of progression and immersion. It wasn't just about winning matches, it was about showing off your achievements in a space that felt personal. Imagine unlocking different furniture, themes, and even interactions with other wrestlers in your locker room, making it feel alive. Bringing that back with modern customization tools would give players an additional reason to grind for rewards beyond just unlocking characters and arenas. As for DLC, it shouldn't just be about adding new wrestlers, it should add story content too. Imagine getting additional chapters for a Road to WrestleMania or season mode, featuring new rivalries, dream matches, or alternate history scenarios. DLC should feel like an expansion of the game, not just an excuse to sell wrestlers that the 2K community likely created months before the official release.
Damn!
Exactly. And lastly, bring back Create a Story. I don't know how many times we have to ask. Just please, bring it back. The WWE games, or game for this example, used to give players the tool to craft their own narratives, complete with custom promos, match stipulations, and branching story paths. The 2K community is incredibly creative, and letting people share their own stories would add an infinite amount of replayability, which, in my opinion, WWE 2K games don't really have much of. Whether you want to recreate classic feuds or create brand new ones, this mode gave players the freedom to tell their own WWE tales. It's a shame that such a beloved feature has been absent for so long. For this series to truly improve, these elements need to return. And I know I'm not alone in thinking that. Trust me, this game looks amazing and it plays amazing, but it's just the aspect of getting me to return as a gamer that is wavering for me. But that's gonna be it for this review. Was this year's showcase mode a hit, or did it miss harder than a botched finisher? Would you like to see the returns that I listed, or do you think that the 2K series is heading in the right direction? Let me know in the comments and we can discuss. Until next time, thanks for watching.